Hey, welcome back to 57 Flavors. Since it's Halloween season, I'm going to do some recipes out of its book To Die For, compiled by Amy Bruni. And these are recipes from haunted locations and haunted houses, haunted hotels, etc., etc. So the recipe I'm going to do today is going to be Yankee pot roast, one of my favorites. We're going to use our trusty old crock pot and a nice piece of chuck roast. That's my preferred meat for roasts and for hamburgers is ground chuck. And some carrots, some potatoes, some onions, some garlic, salt and pepper to taste. So this particular recipe is from the Conjuring house, or the family that lived in the Conjuring house. And it is on page, the recipe itself is on page 114, but the story of the Conjuring house is on page 112. And this is the story of the Perron family, or the Perrons. And this is in Harrisville, Rhode Island. And this is what the film The Conjuring was actually based on. And the family experienced events from having a loving spirit that tucked in the little girl at night to having a completely malevolent spirit that seemed to want to do them harm. They were there from 1970 till 1980. And again, Ed and Lorraine Warren went to the home and investigated, and such the movie is based. So the recipe is for old-fashioned pot roast, or old-fashioned Yankee pot roast. Let me be clear, because there's different pot roasts. And this makes, let's see here, according to Carolyn Perron, who this is her recipe, it feeds a family of 7. So this is a very large recipe. I'm obviously not going to be doing it to this scale. Matter of fact, this week I'm the only one home, so I'm using a small cut of meat. But 2 tablespoons of butter, 3 to 3.5 pounds of boneless chuck roast, 1 garlic clove minced, or 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of steak seasoning, salt and black and pepper to taste, 8 cups of water. I'm going to use beef broth instead. 1 large sweet onion diced, 3 pounds of carrots diced, 4 cups of beef broth, 3 pounds of small red potatoes diced, a baguette and butter. And the instructions are here. Begin with a huge stainless steel stock pot, heat the pot, add 2 tablespoons of butter, season the roast with garlic and garlic powder. Braise the beef on both sides, turning frequently for about 10 minutes until the meat is seared. You can do that. I'm not going to do that today, but pour the water over the meat and lower the heat. Cover the pot. Check it occasionally, turning the meat. Make sure the roast is submerged the whole time. After about an hour, add the diced onions to the pot, cover and simmer. Add the carrots to the pot along with the beef broth and bring it to boil for another 15 minutes. Next, add the potatoes and boil for another 15 to 20 minutes, or until the vegetables are tender. Add more beef broth to cover the potatoes if necessary. Season to taste, and best served with a fresh baguette and soft butter. So basically, I'm going to use that as a guide, but we're going to do our own thing here because, again, it's just me this week. So I like to start off. I've already washed all my produce. Please wash your produce. This is unfortunately how people get sick. They think it's clean from the grocery store, and it often is not. So I'm going to start with my carrots. I'm just going to chop those up. I like a lot of carrots. You could chop these to your liking. The beautiful thing about the crock pot is these are going to get fork soft. And I like using real old school carrots. That baby carrot thing is just a scam. Some farmer figured out that, oh, I can sell these misshapen carrots if we grind them down to little nubs. And then they called them, oh, let's call these baby carrots and people will buy them. And sure enough, they do. So I'm just going to throw the stuff in while I'm cutting. Now my potatoes. I like to leave the skins on. They say that the majority of the vitamins and nutrients of a potato is actually in the skin. To be honest with you, I don't know if that's true, but I like the skins, so. Chop these up any way you like, if you like them smaller. Again, these are all going to come out fork tender, so don't get too concerned. I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to eat these. Now, another beautiful thing about this is that your larger cuts of meat, like your roasts, are often cheaper than if you buy the meat as in steaks or ground, because you're not having to pay for the processing, right? And if you can get it on sale, most of the time, if you're real lucky, you can get it actually $2 to $3 cheaper per pound than what you can get actually the sliced or ground version. So if you have a large family to feed, this is an excellent way to do that. I have a little bit of eyes on these potatoes, so I'm going to trim that off. And I'm using like the yellow potatoes. I think they call those like Yukon Golds or whatever, and the red potatoes. I think the recipe actually just calls for the red potatoes, but I like a mixture of both. And getting pretty tight in there. I think I'll do just this last red. Actually, I think I'm just going to do half of that. I'll use the other half for something else, but there you are. Now I'm going to do a good, I like a lot of garlic. I'm a good garlic, so I'm going to use at least a tablespoon, probably 2. I already have some of the onion chopped up already. I like to do, if you're going to listen to a chef, which I guess you probably should, because right, they've trained to do this, but they're going to tell you to cut everything as evenly as possible, because the more uniform you cut things, the more even it's going to be cooked. So when it comes to the onion, I like to do multiple size slices. I like to do a fine dice, and that's going to liquefy into the broth, adding flavor. And then I like to do larger chunks, which I'm going to actually enjoy eating, individually on the fork. And then our meat, I'm going to slide in there. And our butter. It's good. Our salt and pepper. And then she also called for some steak seasoning, so let's go to that next. All right, so lastly, I'm going to put in my steak seasoning. She called for steak seasoning. Thankfully, Omaha Steak was kind enough to give me some last time I ordered some burgers from them. So we're going to do a teaspoon of that. Okay. Now my broth, we're going to put a couple cups in, at least a couple cups, if not this whole thing, but let's see, because those vegetables and the actual beef itself is going to make a lot of broth in the crock pot here. So that was 2 cups. Okay, that was 3. And there's only a little bit left. Well, there's about 4 cups total in here. So we're gonna go with 4 cups, folks. 4 cups. That filled this up to the top. So, well, there's about about an inch left, which is fine because, like I said, the vegetables and the beef itself are going to release some juices, which is going to add some liquid. And if you feel like there's too much liquid in there, you can always leave the lid somewhat ajar and allow some of that to escape in the cooking process. But for me tonight, what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually, the beautiful thing about a crock pot is I'm going to put this in the refrigerator overnight. And then tomorrow morning, when I'm getting ready for work, I'm going to plug this in. And when I get home from work, I'm going to have some Yankee pot roast ready for me. So my grandmother would actually put some celery in here, but since the recipe doesn't call for it, I'm not going to go ahead and do that today. But so I'm going to be honest, I do like a little bit of the celery in there, but again, I'm not going to do that today because the recipe doesn't call for that. Oh, good morning, folks. I pulled our roast out of the refrigerator, and I'm going to set this now before heading out the door. So I'm just going to put this on low because I want this cooking at least 8 hours, 6 to 8 probably, but by the time I get home and everything, it's going to be probably a little more than 8. But and all slow cookers are really the same. They all reach the same temperature. It's just how fast they reach that temperature. So we'll check this out tonight, and you'll see what the end product looks like. Have a great day, everybody. Hi, folks. This is the end product. Just got home. This is our Yankee pot roast. So I'll show it plated in a second. Hi, folks. This is the Yankee pot roast plated. Hope you like the recipe. Comment whether you do, whether you don't, what suggestions you might have, and please click like and subscribe. All right, have a good one. Bye.